I got this little sample of Boucheron Place Vendome, the Eau de Parfum version, because it's compared to Jimmy Choo Illicit, and I just thought it'd be interesting to have a sniff and see whether this is as similar as people say it is. So this is a really beautiful bottle, as you can see. Really, really pretty, nice coloured liquid. And I've been on a bit of a honey perfume kick recently, which is why I like Illicit, and it's why I was interested in this, because this has a honey note. I'm going to take this out. Let's just leave this here. Looking rather lovely. So, floriental, woody, radiating grace and pleasure, sensual trail, finery revealing, and yeah, I mean, again, and it's never very helpful when it's all just a bit poetic. It doesn't have the notes, but you can see it's quite a nice coloured liquid. And so the notes in this one are orange blossom, tangerine, pink pepper and rose in the top. And then you've got the mid that's honey, jasmine, praline and peony. Then the base is benzoin and cedar. So there are a few overlaps here with the notes that are in Jimmy Choo. The honey, the orange blossom, I can't remember if that's got pink pepper, and it's got caramel in that one though, rather than praline. So my feelings about this are that this is definitely not as sweet, it's definitely not as gourmand as Jimmy Choo Illicit. So if we just grab Illicit, and let's just put this little guy into the picture. Never quite comes out on a dark background, but you can see it's a gorgeous colour. So Illicit has notes of, let's just get these up, ginger and bitter orange in the top, jasmine, sambac, orange blossom and rose in the mid. Then the base notes are honey, amber, caramel, vanilla, sandalwood and cashmere wood. So to my nose, Jimmy Choo is sweeter, it's smoother. It's definitely got that, it's got a lot of honey, but it's got a decent amount of caramel as well. It's got that warm, spicy feel, but it definitely has some overlaps with this Boucheron. So Place de Vendome, it's definitely more floral. So when you first spray it, it's definitely sharper. It's definitely way more floral, I would say, because I'm very sensitive to jasmine and peony. So I would say that although there is a kind of orange blossomy overall smell, I get a little bit of a screechy jasmine and peony. Now, I don't know whether that's because maybe there's some kind of ambroxan or some other aroma chemical in here which I perceive to be screechy, because sometimes that does happen. Often happens with peony. In fact, almost always it happens with peony. So it might just be that. But this Place Vendome, to me, it smells very shampooey when I first spray it. That's what I'd say. I think it's got like a slightly harsh shampooey smell. You definitely get that honey, and I think that the honey, the orange blossom and the woods is what's really kind of crossing over here to make them smell similar. And certainly the more that Boucheron dries down, so the more that Place Vendome dries down, the more it smells like Jimmy Choo. I don't think it's as nice, but it definitely starts to smell more and more and more like Jimmy Choo as it dries down. They both have a wood that smells a slightly pencil shaving-y. So that's a real, that's one of the most noticeable similarities here. They really do smell a little bit pencil shaving-y, and for a while that put me off of Illicit. So Illicit was one that I had a sample of, and I wasn't sure if I really ever wanted to buy the bottle, because I wasn't sure how I felt about that wood note in it. But I kind of just got used to it, and then I fell in love with the overall smell, because I really like the honey in Illicit, and I like the caramel as well. So I do like the honey in Boucheron, and I can live with that wood, and I think the orange blossom is a nice level. And it has that slight warm spice because it's got the benzoin and the pink pepper. But I do think that Illicit is just generally a nicer perfume than this, because it doesn't have that shampoo vibe. The caramel in it makes it warmer and sweeter and more gourmand. And Place de Vendome, like I said, has florals in it that give it a real shampoo-y smell that I find is a little bit screechy, a little bit sharp, and is kind of spoiling that nice, warm, spicy, floral honey scent. So, I mean, my personal feelings is that Jimmy Choo is nicer, and that's the one I would go for myself. But if you don't love gourmands, and if you would rather have something that's not quite as sweet, but you like the general profile of illicit, then Place de Vendome is going to be better for you because it's more mature, I'd say. It's a little bit more grown up smelling. It's a little bit less it's slightly less cozy, but it's still sweet, if that makes sense, just because it is definitely more floral. So anyway, that is Jimmy Choo illicit versus Boucheron Place de Vendome. And yeah, I mean, it's a perfectly nice perfume. I don't really like shampoo-y perfumes very much, so for me there wouldn't really be much of a competition. It would always be Jimmy Choo, just because this is a little bit too shampoo-y for me. But they're both really nice perfumes, and I can see the similarities, particularly in the deep dry downs.